So we are back again with our new recipe here. This recipe, Arjun, is actually very good for the current scenario the world is passing through. And this is a offtake from what my mother used to make. Okay, this is I call it an immunity booster soup. Okay, and the most important ingredient apart from all these herbs that you see is shiitake mushroom, which is the most powerful thing in this entire stew. But if I relate this with my mother's recipe, she would use again something which is very, very important if people have to know. Any vegetable that grows on a runner tree, okay, is the most powerful vegetable. Okay, हिंदुस्तान में अगर आप तुरई खाते हैं और रिज वाली तुरई नहीं खाते हैं तो कहीं कुछ मिस कर रहे हैं लाइफ में. इट्स वन ऑफ द मोस्ट पावरफुल वेजिटेबल्स. और रनर ट्री इसलिए क्योंकि जो पेड़ अपने आप को संभाल सकता है और चढ़ सकता है ऊपर, आप समझिए कि कितना पावरफुल है. और उसका स्टेम पे मत जाइए कि पतला सा स्टेम है. इसीलिए हिंदुस्तान में कुछ चीज़ें बहुत पावरफुल है, जिसमें कद्दू, वाइट पम्पकिन, बॉटल गॉड, ठीक है जी, ऐश गॉड, पेठा, ये सारी चीज़ें बहुत पावरफुल है. उनमें टिंडली इंसिडेंटली इज वन ऑफ द फाइनेस्ट ब्रेन फूड इन द कंट्री, और लोग खाते कम है. और देखिए खाते कौन है, आप इससे रिलेट कर सकेंगे. देखिए खाते कौन है, खाते हैं ईस्ट इंडिया में या साउथ इंडिया में. नॉर्थ इंडिया में नहीं खाते लोग. नॉर्थ इंडिया तो बटर चिकन चाहिए होता सबको. आपको भी पसंद है बटर चिकन. तो ये टिंडली खाते हैं. इससे आप रिलेट कर सकते हैं कि देखिए वहाँ पे लोग थोड़े ज़्यादा पढ़े लिखे हैं. टिंडली बहुत खाते हैं, परमल बहुत खाते हैं, पटल जो है वो बहुत खाते हैं. तो ये चीज़ें जो ऐसे पेड़ पे उगती हैं जो चढ़ सकती हैं वो बहुत पावरफुल है. और वैसे ही मशरूम की भी कहानी है कि जो नेचुरली उग जाता है ऋतु से हिसाब से, वो कितना पावरफुल होगा सोचिए. तो ये शिताके ऑल बिलोंग टू दोज फैमिलीज. So this is a herb. Now coming to the question, when you build your empire of Dr. Vaidya's, तो आपने बनाया था ये सोच के कि आप you will give it over to somebody?
So let Trisha tell you the story of how we failed, then how we scaled, and eventually how.
Wow, that's something interesting to hear.
So when Arjun started in 2016, we were dating at this time.
जी.
And 24, I think when he started, he was 24 years old, and he said, "Acha, we'll do offline."
Okay.
And hired a team of 20 people. You know, thought, wow, we have this big event, launch event. Taj Lands.
Okay.
Called lots of distributors, press, everything, and said, wow. First month, 10 lakhs of goods ka order came. Amazing, fantastic, very excited, right? Next month, 9 lakh वापस आ गया. And we were
goods
like,
return.
All goods returned. 9 lakhs came back.
I didn't know what that meant, right? Like I thought 10 lakh का order आ गया, distributor को bill किया, बस हो गया. Next month 20 lakh order आ जाएगा. But it was a primary sale to a distributor.
Okay.
So distributor had to sell to retailer, retailer had to sell to customer, customer had to want to buy my brand for me to get paid.
Correct.
We got 9 lakhs back.
Because there was no brand, people didn't know about it.
Okay.
And I think in that he was like, you know what, handling 20 people, checking are they actually going to stores, selling correctly, let's shut shop. So he took a decision.
So which is again I want to come here because I also did an appliances business and I did the first test market for it. Same कहानी जो आपकी हुई है, हमने डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर को दे दिया, पैसे ले लिए, फिर आप अगले महीने सामान
वापस
अब क्या करना. तो ये जब होता है तब कितना पेनफुल होता है.
So for me,
क्या कैसे सीखता मतलब इसके बाद?
नहीं, for me it was like I was a good student in school. I went to a good college. College के बाद अच्छा job मिला. And then ये failure हुआ तो it was like the world was crashing down, right? But look, my father's an entrepreneur, right? He didn't go my dad's way, but he started a jewelry and watch business, and we have it in our family. So we were reflecting on the experience कि क्या हुआ, क्या गलत हुआ, and I spent time to say कि why did it not work, right?
Okay.
पहला तो हमारा brand नहीं था.
Okay.
Extra, we didn't have the money. And 3, there was Dabur, Imami, Patanjali, Vaidya, Zandu.
Already there.
All of these brands there, right? So what is the reason for us to sort of win in that market, right? And then we had a conversation. And
then I joined him after we got engaged, as I said. And I had worked in Nykaa in early days.
Okay.
And I had seen how Falguni Nair used to just obsessively read every order. See which cities it coming from, tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, combinations, what people were buying. I started realizing there is a power to understand who your consumer is.
Okay.
Offline we didn't know, right? Because it would go through a stockist and then go to a retailer and then the customer. So we would not really know who is our customer who is buying our product. So then we spoke a lot, let's go online, right? Let's go digital. And at that time, D2C was not such a buzzword as it is today, right? Now everyone is launching brands. It wasn't. And we said, we'll go online, we'll launch our own website. It's a tougher route maybe, but we'll do it that way. I think it was a good 14-15 months of trial, experiment, learnings to try and get who is our customer. Eventually, I think when we hit 50 orders a day, then we understood, okay, now we know who our customer is, where they are sitting, what they need to learn. Because we realized that if I ask my friends, they had no idea what Brahmi is, Amla is, nothing. But if I ask my grandparents, everyone knows. So there was a huge knowledge gap as well. But people were caring, right? People were moving towards organic, natural. So why not bridge that gap? Why not speak to the younger audience as well, the youth as well? And so that's what we did. We also realized that tier 1 cities mein people weren't as willing to learn as they were in tier 2, tier 3 cities.
This is a big learning for all those who will watch this video. Number one, you took the traditional route of selling. You kind of took a back foot on it because it's painful. Everybody thinks that traditional route is still the biggest route. But like Trisha rightly mentioned, कि कौन खरीद रहा है हमें क्या पता है. End of the day, how is he using? You don't. And the major metros is not the consumer. For especially maybe some products it might be, but some products it's not.
It taught us as metro consumers to think beyond the way we consume and the way we think. Right? So all or most of Dr. Vaidya's ads were in Hindi and English, not in English, right?
Wow.
And that was counterintuitive for me.
Yes.
I was like, no, it should be in English. But actually, 82% of our customers came from outside the top 10 cities.
Wow.
And in 4 years, we were able to reach 16,500 pin codes in India and more than 2 million customers with just one warehouse and one office. And that's the power of digital. That's the power of
no wonder you'll have always been talked about as the power D2C couple, So you understood actually where and how to read the customer. Okay. So those who want to build a D2C business, is this something which is a very big learning point that they should understand their product and who's buying the product?
I think for us it was because it was health, right? We want the customer to keep coming back and stay on the treatment. To understand the customer journey and own the customer journey was important, right? Now on our website we got all the data to say you bought it, you're from here, we can contact you again, we can tell you your medicine is getting over, let's replenish, because that's the only way the best results happen.
Okay, right? So which means tracking a customer and constantly reaching out to him. Okay, this is what it is. You're not reaching. So I did this actually. I tell you what, but somehow, like you said, in all this journey, of course, your product and the money power is also important. Is the money power important here because you need to have ample of
for the first stage of getting product market fit. Like now both of us are pretty active in the investment world, right? So a lot of people come to us and say, "Yeah, idea hai, but iske liye paise chahiye." I think the best way to attract investment is to establish product market fit, right? So when we got from 0 to 50 orders, we learned everything about our customer. We learned everything about what it would take to scale, and we smelled the business. At 50 orders, if you told Trisha and I 50 se 5,000 karne, kaise karne wo pata tha. But 0 se 50 karna actually is not just about money. It's about learning, it's about deep diving, it's about all of those things. So until then, we didn't take any external money, raise any capital, have any money. But once we got to 50 orders, then we said, "Acha, yahan se we know exactly what levers to pull and what gears to move to scale." Right? So it was, I would say, 2 phases. The first phase was failing and learning. What is our business? And then the second phase was hyperscaling. So it took us 2 years, or it took me 2 years from October 2016 to November 2018 to get from 0 to 50 orders a day. And then another 2 years to get from 50 to 5,000 orders a day. So that was scale.
So like I was mentioning, so when we had this equipment thing, so who was buying, so we were calling them up as a brand. So they were like, आपको कैसे पता चला हमने बर्तन खरीदा करके? हमको तो आज तक किसी से फोन नहीं आया। बर्तन खरीदते हैं आपकी लाइफ में भी आपको गारंटी किसी ने फोन नहीं किया। We had some right points in place, but like you said कि 10 लाख गया, 9 लाख वापस आ गया। जब वापस आया तो शायद हम सोच नहीं पाए। मैं अभी I can relate that. So it's very important that you come back, you sit, you understand, and you take it up from there.
And actually, one thing we did, even
Yes.
when we were just starting, we didn't have people in the team, right?
Correct.
So it was us. Answering WhatsApps, answering emails, answering calls was us. But we realized having that connect with the customer, every Sunday we continued.
Okay.
Every Sunday we would do the WhatsApp,
Customer
we would do the
service.
email,
Okay.
customer service, to understand what were the problems customers were facing, what were they liking, what was working for them.
Understanding your customer
100%.
became, even though you are on DTC, you should understand more, I think, right?
Even
Because
more.
in a traditional trade, you generally don't know who's
Yeah.
buying. Yeah,
But
retailer
here you
is
know.
least bought. Here you should know.
Yeah.
So anybody who's building an online business should be able to track the customer very well, right? His behavioral analytics is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So this is a big learning for all of us. And as we keep learning more, let me just begin with this stew. This is very, very simple stew. तो इसमें पानी ले लेते हैं, बहुत ही सिंपल है। और कई बार मैं ये सोचता हूँ कि मेरी मम्मी ये क्यों बनाती थी। ज़्यादातर विंटर्स में बनता था, समर्स में बनता था, लेकिन इतना ज़्यादा नहीं। क्यों बनाती थी? एक तो आई अंडरस्टैंड कि जो गृहिणी होती है ना, वो बहुत थक जाती है। एक्चुअली वो किसी भी मेल मेंबर से ज़्यादा काम करती है घर पे, जो एक्चुअली घर पे काम करती हैं, जिनको हम हमेशा कहते हैं कि यार तुम तो घर पे ही बैठे रहते हो, तुमको क्या पता बाहर की दुनिया क्या है, कितनी मेहनत करनी पड़ती है। वो एक्चुअली हमसे कहीं ज़्यादा काम करती है, राइट? एंड आई ऑल्सो बिलीव दैट शी इज़ द बेस्ट CEO, बिकॉज इफ शी मैनेजेस द होम करेक्टली, then everything else is on actually track. If she doesn't, then nothing is in track behind, because the man will be always thinking behind, back and forth. So it's very very important job. तो यहाँ पानी डल गया तो मेरे पास कई सारी सब्जियाँ, ये गाजर डाल लेते हैं। ये चीज़ जो मैं बना रहा हूँ, इसका मज़ा यही है कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कौन सी चीज़ कब डालनी है। तो ये zucchini जो है ये बाद में डालेंगे। तो लोग कहते भी हैं, राइट, यू वुड एग्री टू इट, कि जितनी कलरफुल चीज़ें होंगी, आप जितने अपने खाने में कलरफुल चीज़ें लेते हैं उतनी बेनिफिशियल होगी। ये सारी चीज़ें मैं डाल दे रहा हूँ। आप बिना तेल के मैं बना रहा हूँ, इसीलिए मैं सारी चीज़ें डाल दे रहा हूँ। इसमें प्याज, अच्छा प्याज हिंदुस्तान में हम लोग बहुत खाते हैं, उसका महत्व बताइए।
आप बताओ।
तेरी तो देखिए सवाल मेरे पास आ गया, राइट? प्याज सबसे पहले तो आपको ठंडा रखता है, इसलिए देखिए समर में आपको कहते हैं लोग पॉकेट में लेके घूमें। तो जब मैं नागपुर में ससुराल में जाता हूँ, या मैं अपने घर पे भी रहता हूँ खड़गपुर में, तो गर्मियों में बहुत गर्मी होती है और सूखी गर्मी होती है। तो आपको ये कहा जाता है कि सनस्ट्रोक से बचने के लिए प्याज आपकी जेब में होना चाहिए।
Really?
Yes, आपके जेब में होना चाहिए प्याज। और जब भी आपका शरीर गर्म हो तो प्याज काट के, मुझे याद है मेरी मम्मी जो है तपता है शरीर बड़ी, तो प्याज काट के पैर के नीचे, फुट पे इस तरह से स्क्रब करते, तो वो उससे सारी गर्मी निकलती थी। तो आजकल हम जैसे रात को वो बैम्बू पैक लगा के सोते हैं, वो काला हो जाता है, तो हमें लगता है पूरा टॉक्सिन्स निकल गए, वो प्याज काम कर जाता है। ठीक है, प्याज हम जब काटते भी हैं तो हमें रोना बहुत आता है, टीयर ग्लैंड्स वगैरह क्लियर हो जाते हैं, लेकिन उसको बचाने के लिए आप कान के नीचे रख सकते हैं, तो इट विल प्रोटेक्ट यू फ्रॉम इट, या यू पुट इट ऑन चिल्ड वाटर। तो बहुत सारे बेनिफिट्स होते हैं, प्याज खाना बहुत ज़रूरी है। अब इसमें ये लीजिए, ये zucchini डाल देते हैं, सब चीज़ें मैं डाल देता हूँ और बातें करते रहेंगे, और इसको हम पकाने के लिए रख देते हैं। ये लॉन्ग पेपर, ओके, दिस इज आई थिंक यू ऑल यूज इट।
Yes, absolutely.
कैसे यूज करते हैं आप अपने प्रोडक्ट्स में?
This is used mostly for cough and cold.
Yes. तो ये जो रेसिपी एक्चुअली मैंने सीखी है, मेरे पास एक हर्बल रेमेडीज़ की बुक है, तो उसमें लिखा गया है कि जब फ्लू वगैरह हो तो ये लॉन्ग पेपर का पानी, जो काढ़ा जो है, वो अपने इसमें डाल के पीना चाहिए, इसलिए मैं इसको डाल देता हूँ। एंड दिस इज़ अगेन कबाब चीनी और मैंगलोरियन पेपर।
कबाब
चीनी,
यस, ठीक है जी, ये डाल देते हैं। अब देखिए, अब ये भी डालते होंगे आप च्यवनप्राश में,
yes.
राइट? तो ये डाल लेते हैं। ये है मुलट्टी, liquor rice. Okay, ये भी डाल लेते हैं थोड़ा सा.
It's also in a lot of medicines for cough, cold and
Correct. So this whole stew is about having a bowl full of stew when you have cough, cold, and this I learned while we were all going through this COVID thing. So I was learning. So I had this book, and this book clearly mentioned कि ये ये चीज़ें आपको अपनानी चाहिए, जैसे आपको कफ फ्लू ऐसे हो जाए तो अपनानी चाहिए. So coming back to my question is that when you build this empire, so ये empire build किया बेचने के लिए, बेचने की सोच से build किया या क्यों, मतलब ये बेचा क्यों गया है जब आप इतने passionate थे इसके बारे में?
So actually, Harpal ji, a lot of people ask us now as young people who sold our business. Even I want to build a business to sell the business.
Okay.
And I think that's the worst way to start, right?
Okay.
Had we built this business to sell the business and nobody was there to buy, what happens then? Right?
Okay.
You build it to sell, but nobody's there to buy, right? So I think the first thing was we never built the business to sell the business.
Okay.
We built the business out of our own passion, our own love, our own energy. And we built a good business.
But isn't this the common question we hear today's date ki, I want to build a business to sell the business?
That's the worst way to start.
Okay.
That's the worst way to start. Because
so everybody who's building...
You build a business to build a good business, only a good business will be bought.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So if you follow the process of building a good business, you will figure out what happens with a business. Right?
Okay.
And I was talking to a famous health entrepreneur yesterday.
Okay.
And he was saying, देखो मैंने बनाया business बहुत बड़ा हो गया अभी. I have a professional management and I'm there for the strategy, right? So he didn't build it to sell it, but he's able to sort of take time out now. So I think we didn't build it to sell it.
Okay.
But I mean, more than 300-400 times now we've been asked the question, why you sold it, right? And I think nobody has the answer, or nobody can say this is the reason you should sell your business, right? The only people who can decide to exit a business are the people who are the founders who are running the business, right? And so look, we had an amazing run with our business. We had great investors, RP Sanjeev, and the business grew very well. And in December of last year, they made an offer to buy the rest of the business. For us, we thought we had done a decent job with the business, reached where we had to with the business. The offer was fair, and so we accepted that offer. But if I ask you, Harpalji, if you were in my shoes right, at that time, maybe you would have taken the offer, maybe you wouldn't have, right? But that is a very personal. So I don't know if you have anything to add.
No, I think we discussed it a lot, right?
Yes. It was not easy.
It was not an easy. It was not an overnight decision that
it's like selling a baby kind of thing.
It
right?
was.
Yeah.
It also was emotional, right? That 99.9999% of our day was obsessing about Dr. Vaidya's. So even for us, emotionally, how do you detach from it? Was a question. Was it the right move? And I think somewhere both of us were very comfortable and said, actually, yes, we're happy with what we've done now. It's the right time. And yeah, I think the good thing is, someone asked us a month or 2 months after we actually exited, any regrets? And we both in 1 second said no. So I think that made us realize even more that it was the right decision for us.
We grew as people, we matured as people, we learned how to accept failure with grit and resilience, manage a large team, manage the ups and downs, and I think like the people we are today is the 4.5 years that we built Dr. Vaidya's.
Great, superb. So I want to ask you another question on this. So many times I have personally seen that large companies acquire such businesses, and then because there is no soul in those large companies who understands this business which they have bought, because you were the soul, for example, you built the business, and those large companies do not have the soul. Suddenly that company which they bought dies off. It does happen?
I think very difficult for us to say what will happen with Dr. Vaidya. Only God has the answer to that. I think we chose a really good partner. They were as passionate, if not more passionate, about Ayurveda than we were. And Dr. Vaidya's started off as Arjun and then Arjun and Trisha. But then there were another 150 people that came along with us for the ride. Right? Arjun and Trisha may be removed from Dr. Vaidya's. But the soul of our business was our team.
So the team still stands with them. Wow, fantastic. So here we go. We'll add some tomatoes to this. Everything that is beautiful is being added to this. Some starch to this.
So many colors.
Yes, and this is only going to, give you the filling excitement. Okay, so the starch is here. The starch will be in two forms. And then I have this brilliant little stuff, okay, to which it's called shiitake mushroom. This adds a very different actually flavor to this stew, okay. And one of my person who actually with whom I work, she always mentions that shiitake mushroom water, if people drink, is going to be very good for them.
Oh really?
Yes.
Would you like a cup?
So that's the reason probably. The Chinese eat a lot of this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, if I were to look at people with ancient science on food, I think us and the Chinese are probably one of the top recall things that they still carry traditions. In fact, China still carries a lot of it in their villages. Same way like we do in India. Yeah.
We don't eat this part.
We generally don't eat this part.
You're going to make this for dinner one day?
Yes.
Oh, probably when you eat this stew, drink this stew, probably you're going to love it. So this is what it is. These are some skills that we
Makes it look so
It
easy.
makes it look so easy, yeah.
Yeah, it makes it look so easy. People get years of practice, years of slicing our fingers. I still remember I was a chef and I was put into the butchery, and some days we had to clean off the fish, which was about 1,000 kgs of fish.
Wow.
So you need to fillet them, and by evening, or if you're working in that butchery section for probably maybe a month or so, at the end of the month, probably all our fingers were covered with bandages and with with protective gears, because you would be pierced with
Cuts.
yes, cuts, and then the fish bones and everything, and then you have to take tetanus. So a chef's life actually is not that easy. Actually, if you really see, when you stand in front of a gas range and you are actually, sometimes many governments say that partially opened and you need to wear masks in the kitchen. One should realize that there is already less of oxygen in a kitchen, because you are burning the flame, and there is already less oxygen. I remember when we were there during just the COVID was getting over in COVID 1 phase, and I had gone to our cloud kitchen and where we were trying to develop a lot of products. So I was inside with a mask and I was cooking, and I realized that I was getting that breathlessness feeling, because there was less oxygen and I didn't know what to do. And then I said, okay, this mask has to go aside because there's already so much of heat and I cannot stand this. It's very difficult. And also when you're frying, you are between fumes, you are inhaling all the oil. That's a little difficult stuff for us.
And you're also on your feet all day long.
Yeah. So there are a few things which definitely go for a toss for us, which is our L3, L4 in the backbone. That goes for a toss for sure. Because when you are young, like you are lifting things and you are excited about doing things without knowing that what is the posture of lifting a big vessel with 100 kgs of mutton or a biryani or something like that. But you're just passionate then, So that's it. So we'll add this also so that the flavor actually gets into the stew. This is now going to look very beautiful.
What a mix of colors.
Yes. And we'll allow it to boil. And actually, you can use either leftover rice or whatever starch, brown rice or rice, whatever leftover you have, you can add that. Salt is something which you can add as per your taste. Okay. And I on my television show, actually I do something which I don't know whether you've heard or not. That's what people know me for, and people actually have built so much of love for that single jingle that I do. Is what I do. I'll tell you that. O ji namak shamak, dal dete hain, namak shamak. So this is what I do. So people love me doing this. Yes, me doing this. get cooked. I will also put some rice in this now. Okay, and this is looking a little beautiful. I'll put some rice in this, and this becomes the new age mother food kind of thing. My mother's stew, new age. So let this boil. So this whole bowl gives you full nutrition.
It's a meal.
Amazing, yeah.
It's a full meal.
Yes.
Balanced.
Absolutely. So many times people ask me, what's your kind of cooking? So I kind of tell them that, okay, my own style is my style of cooking. So I do not follow, I follow something which is gathered from my mother's kitchen, from my travels, and I bring it into such ease that everybody should be able to cook. That's what we do. And so Trisha, I mean, you as a womanpreneur helping Arjun, how was your journey in this whole process? Like if women were to build their own story, there are many home chefs who are actually wanting to build something from their homes. So because you have built a D2C business and you help Arjun, so what are those points which people do businesses from their home, and if they want to scale up, what is that they should be looking at?
No, I think so. One of the first things is that if you're doing a product, you're doing a service, you're a home chef, something that we talk about a lot is what is that moat, right? So what is your differentiation? Why are you doing it?
Okay.
Is it could be purely out of passion, but is it a problem you're trying to solve?
Okay.
Is it something very different that you're launching
Okay.
that people will want to have? I think in terms of scaling, you can't do it half-baked,
Okay.
to be very honest. You can be very honest with yourself in terms of how much time commitment you can give, but you have to give it all,
Okay.
right? And I think one of the most important things is, especially if you're doing it at home and you're trying to reach a larger audience, is consistency,
Okay.
right? So even at Dr. Vaidya's, we were very particular about what is the kind of content we put in. Does it
Okay.
fit into our brand name?
Okay.
Are we consistently putting it out?
Okay.
Is there a reason why we're putting it out? Would I share it on my own Instagram handle?
Okay.
Right? So you used to have these benchmarks. So not
Okay.
like a tick mark job, but more like there's a reason why you post it.
Okay.
I also think now with the way D2C has evolved, there are a lot of ways that you can do a hybrid model, right? You can run successful businesses from home as well. I think women genuinely are just wired to be better multi-skilled.
Yes.
Not saying that you aren't, but
Yes.
just saying that
Yes.
generally you have to juggle many hats, right?
Correct.
You juggle the hat of a daughter first, then typically a wife, then
Correct.
a mother. But you can do it. You can
Correct.
do it all, right?
Absolutely.
Because it happens. And I just think that, I was very lucky that I had a husband who never said like it's my business, I'm the CEO. It was a very equal partnership. If you see anywhere he's spoken about it, he's always like, we've built it, it's always been us. So I think you need that support from your husband, from your family, because it's a tough journey,
Correct.
right? It's
Absolutely.
not easy.
Absolutely.
There were days that we would just tell each other that, look, I don't mind if something great doesn't happen. I just don't want to firefight today, right? I just don't want any emotions
Anything
to
to
go
go
high or
wrong.
low. Just
Yes,
nothing.
that's something which in the family, that's one thing which we always want to know, that was there any friction? Means okay, somebody backs.
No.
Backs up.
Of course you fight.
Yes.
That's
But
normal.
the best idea wins
Oh, okay,
on merit.
okay,
And there was departments, right?
Okay.
So there were certain things that were under my purview and some under Arjun.
Okay.
And we would argue it out, right? Because
Okay.
it's for one thing, it's for the brand. It's not
Okay.
my
The
ego.
goal
or
was the
his
same.
ego.
The
Okay.
incentives were aligned.
Okay.
Yeah. And we've argued,
Okay.
of course, professionally, personally, but
Oh.
the arguments can't last long, no?
Okay.
'Cause
The
you have to-
personal
So who
arguments
always-
can't go to the office.
So who always actually won this?
Depends.
Depends, yeah.
In professional, I would say that what made more logical sense
Yeah.
Okay.
wins. But in personal, obviously, you have to let your wife win.
Superb. That's the story underlying statement here. Now, one thing that comes to my mind in all this discussion is that, one thing I also hear is that everybody wants to know what is the differentiator of your product when you go with the product in the market. So when you went with your product to the market, there were other brands also, like legendary brands like Vaidya and other Ayurvedic stuffs. So didn't you think that you're already entering a market which is there?
So I think that's the key which Trisha was also talking about, is the moat, right?
Yeah.
So now think about what does a moat mean? A moat is the water body around the fort that was there in ancient times to protect the fort. And similarly, when you think of any company, right? What was Jio's moat coming into telecom?
Okay.
It was price and best quality data.
Right.
What is Lenskart's moat for getting into lenses and glasses? The experience offline is broken. Similarly, our moat was new age products that appeal to you and digital first. Nobody was doing new age and digital first. Right? So for whatever you do, whether it's a products business or a services business, right? You have to know why the customer is coming to you. It doesn't have to be every customer in the world. But your customer set has to love you because, or trust you because, or want you because. And that's the answer that every entrepreneur needs to have.
Oh, super. So that completes the whole thing, and I think it's interesting to hear out Arjun and Trisha speak about how they build the empire, what are the key features that you need to know, and my stew is also ready for Arjun and Trisha to taste. So let me give them a taste of this. I think both of you are waiting eagerly for this, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. So I have got some soup cups aligned here. They are just brilliant. It's absolutely not so spicy, but if you allow it to boil as much as possible, but you will keep losing the nutrition value of it. So you need to just boil it until it is just soft and the vegetables are ready. You can put in some vitamin C into this, the lemon, it adds up. And I am very glad to have both of them here, Arjun and Trisha. Thank you for joining in me here in my studio. And I wish to have more of such entrepreneur journeys, which we all need to understand how to build businesses and how to create businesses and what are those underlying statements of building business. So you've understood some today from the man who's created digital empire and done very well for himself. And I hope to do something for my own also from this. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.